some more Star Wars Unlimited streaming here on Tabletop Simulator, and we have an interesting matchup today. On the left, we have Trax, who is going to be actually playing the Luke Skywalker starter deck, and he is playing against his Dudeness, who is running the new Han Solo leader. So Han Solo, Audacious Smuggler. As an action, you can put a card from your hand into play as a resource and ready it, but then at the start of the next action phase, you have to defeat a resource you control. So his ability allows you to get an extra resource onto the field, but it's only temporary. It accelerates you, but it doesn't provide permanent ramp. In the words of someone who corrected me on the Discord earlier, I had thought it was a ramp-like ability, but apparently that the term for that is acceleration. So we're starting things off here with his Dudeness going first, plays Sabine Wren, the unit, 2/3. While there are at least 3 aspects among other friendly units, she can't be attacked unless she gains Sentinel, and she can deal 1 damage to the defender or to a base when she attacks. On the other side of things, Trax throws down Leia Organa, 2/2, readies a resource, and then uses Luke's ability to give a shield. However, Sabine's ability is a strong counter here, so Sabine attacks her. On attack, deals 1 damage to the defender, destroying the shield, and then the 2 damage gets through to defeat Leia Organa, so that's one of the upsides of Sabine Wren as a unit there. And Trax throws down a Restored Arc 170, one of my favorite units. 2 cost 2/3 with Restore 1. In response, his Dudeness plays Ezra Bridger, 3 cost 3/4. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top of your deck. Trax spends a resource to shield his arc. His Dudeness takes the initiative, and we're on to the next round. Ezra leads off the attack here. 3 damage to Luke's base. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top of your deck. And his Dudeness looks at the top card and decides to leave it on the top of the deck. The Restored Arc hits Han's base there for 2 damage and restores 1 life. Sabine Wren attacks, dealing 2 damage to the base and then 1 damage to the base from her ability, and then 2 damage with the attack. And neither player's played a card yet. There we go. C-3PO on the field. Guess is 3. Choose a number, then look at the top card. If it's costed the chosen number, you may reveal and draw. It isn't a 3, and then we see an open fire defeating that C-3PO immediately. And initiative claimed by Trax. All right, we're up to 5 resources here, and this is the point where we might see we can see Han Solo taking the field. So the thing about Han is his ability means that you can put a temporary resource into play, and that will take you from the 5 resources that you have at the start of this turn to 6 resources, allowing you then to deploy him. And then if you attack with him, he actually puts a 7th resource on the board, allowing you to play units like Han Solo the unit or the newly previewed Mace Windu. And we do actually see that Mace Windu in hand. Sabine Wren hits Luke's base for 3. The Restored Arc hits Han's base for 2 and restores 1 life to Luke's base. Han has now used his ability, temporary resource on the field, then deploys. Resource initiative taken by Trax. Han Solo hits Trax's base for 4. On attack, you put the top card of your deck into play as a resource and ready it. At the start of the next action phase, defeat a resource you control. And then Mace Windu on the field. So Mace is not able to use his ambush ability. Mace Windu is a 7 cost 5/7 with ambush. When this unit attacks and defeats a unit, ready him. One of the few cards that we're seeing in this set that is not from the Galactic Civil War era. He has the Republic trait and is, maybe a preview of things to come. I believe there was a interview or article or something where they said that they were going to focus on mostly the Galactic Civil War era, which is kind of the original Star Wars films with the Rebels and the Empire, but there would be a few cards from other eras, and it looks like Mace Windu is one of them. Obi-Wan Kenobi hits the field to try and thwart Han's forces over there. Obi-Wan is a 4/6. When defeated, give 2 experience tokens to another friendly unit. If it's a force unit, draw a card. And he is a sentinel as well. So we're now going to see, it's probably going to be a surprise strike to take down Obi-Wan, probably with that Sabine Wren there. That's exactly what we see. So, or no, it's surprise strike with Han. Okay, attack with a unit gets +3/+0 for this attack. I'm not sure why he had Han die there instead of attacking with Sabine. I might be missing something. Did Han have a shield? Yeah, okay. So I was mixed up. I had thought that Obi-Wan would kill Han, but that's not the case. Han was full HP, so he took 4 damage, and that way that makes that decision make a lot more sense because even though Sabine is less valuable, he was able to keep Sabine on the field. Uh, Luke hits the base there and then shields his restored arc again and is taken down by open fire. Interesting situation here. The It looks like Luke's side of the board is very dominant in the space arena. He has a 4/5 restored arc with 2 shields on it. That's a big problem for his opponent in space. But the problem is the ground arena has gone far in favor of his Dudeness here. So Trax has to figure out what he's going to try and do. Man, that's so surprising to me. He resources General Dodonna. That's like the card that I most want to play in his hand to try. And the thing is, so the life totals here are low. If he plays General Dodonna, it represents damage to his Dudeness's base, and it also represents something that his Dudeness has to respond to potentially. Uh, Potentially, I guess he could kill it with Mace Windu and then still keep attacking. So it looks like what Trax is going to try to do here is he's going to try to outpace his Dudeness by focusing on the space arena. He resourced Dodonna, and honestly, resourcing Dodonna, maybe it makes sense given that Mace Windu could attack him. So Mace Windu has an interesting ability. When he attacks and defeats a unit, he then gets ready. So if Trax played Dodonna, Mace could attack, kill Dodonna, ready up, and still attack the base. So it actually wouldn't be that good. And I think Trax's play was better. So, Trax has maybe been giving better consideration to these cards than I have here. And we're going to zoom out a little bit so we can see all these cards. But a wing leader hits the field, and really odd decision there. The experience is on the Alliance X-Wing. No, maybe that makes sense too. I guess what he's trying to do is he's worried about removal. He's worried there's going to be like a waylay, and he wants to spread his stuff out. Leia Organa exhausts the restored arc before it can attack, unfortunately. I do think that given that he was going to play the wing leader to buff the X-Wing, not the restored arc, it would have been to his advantage to attack with the restored arc before playing out that wing leader. That would have represented some damage to his Dudeness's base and a point of healing to Trax's base. Trax surprise strikes his restored arc, and it's going to do 7 damage to the base there. But he only has 6 more damage to the base this turn, and in the ground arena, his Dudeness has lethal. So that's gonna be it for this one, I think. Interesting game and a victory for Han Solo. All right. Well, we'll see if they do a rematch here. Now it's interesting that Trax actually was playing with the starter deck. It's not a custom deck at all. But was not able to do it. I think that it's possible that if Trax had drawn out a Han Solo of his own, he might have been in a better position for this game, but he wasn't able to get something. He had a much better position in the space arena, but the ground arena went to his Dudeness for the win. So that's gonna do it. It looks like they are gonna draw up another one. And Trax is it looks like Trax is continuing to use that starter deck. I personally do think that he might have better odds with a constructed deck, but maybe it's a little challenge here. And the starter decks in this game, I will say, are not terrible. But there are a few cards in there that I might want to change out. So like the Luke Skywalker starter deck has Repair, which I think is kind of a weak card, kind of a low impact card. I would like to switch that out. And the Consular Security Force, also not a card that I love. Can be good in some situations, but it's not really what I want to do here. All right, we're starting things off. Trax with the first turn this time plays R2D2, looks at the top card of his deck, decides to put it on the bottom of the deck, shield token onto R2D2, then, or he's rethinking it. Yeah, decides he was considering whether or not to shield, given his experience last game with Sabine knocking Leia's shield off, decides that he is going to shield, so shield token onto R2, and his Dudeness takes the initiative, and we will see how things persist. Three resources on each side, as is normal. In theory, you could decline to resource after the first turn, but I think it would be a very odd decision in my opinion, because you really want to resource kind of at minimum until you get your leader out in this game, I think, and sometimes you do besides that as well, depending on your deck cost curve. All right, R2D2 does one damage to the Han's base after Sabine knocks the shield off and does 2 damage to R2. Not a really sick hand there from Trax. He could play C3PO and shield him, or he could play the Waylay on that Starwing Scout. He did, however, see a 3-cost card and drew it with C3PO, and now is going to shield C3PO. The Starwing Scout here is a 3-cost 4/1. When defeated, if you have the initiative, draw 2 cards. This is a strong card right now for his Dudeness. While he does have the initiative, very annoying, can do a lot of damage, and if it's removed, he'll get some value. Although the Waylay so Starwing Scout's ability says when defeated, so the Waylay that Trax has in hand would send the Starwing Scout back to hand without defeating it. Sabine Wren deals 1 damage to Trax's base and 2 damage to defeat R2. She's now in a position to easily be killed by C3PO. Fleet Lieutenant R2 takes. Okay, so the Fleet Lieutenant here is when played, you may attack with a unit. If it's a rebel unit, it gets +2/+0 for this attack. So the Fleet Lieutenant allows kind of a tempo attack there with C3PO. And because he can play this unit while also still attacking, even though the stat unit boost doesn't matter, his Dudeness then plays Ezra Bridger, 3-cost 3/4. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it discarded or leave it on top of your deck. Trax shields his Fleet Lieutenant, and now the question is, does his Dudeness want to attack with the Starwing Scout for 4 damage, after which point Trax will take the initiative, or does he want to just take the initiative and forfeit the 4 damage? He decides it's the initiative for him. He takes the initiative, does not do the 4 damage. And now I think we're going to see Han Solo deploy this turn. Interesting hand there from Trax. He has 2 copies of the Mighty Vanquish. 5 cost event, defeat a non-leader unit. It's a very interesting card here against some of those big units that we could see being deployed by his Dudeness. But we'll have to see whether he gets a chance to get big value out of it. And his Dudeness does have the initiative, not having foregone that attack. Looks like he will probably be playing Han this turn, using the combo and getting Mace Windu on the field. Trax, on the other hand, all you can really do is you could you could play a removal card. The problem is if he plays one of his removal cards, he can't do anything else on the board, and he might want to save them for bigger fish. He could play the Consular Security Force. He could play the uh, Vigilant Honor Guard. He is going to go for a removal play. It's a Waylay on Ezra, returning a non-leader unit to its owner's hand. Now Han Solo hits the field. And the cool thing about the Waylay is it does threaten a surprise strike into Han, but he doesn't have it. It's just 3 normal damage to Han. Han defeats C-3PO. Might have been more favorable to attack with C-3PO first, because attacking with C-3PO would have potentially given a card draw. He could even attack with C-3PO, say 2, and if he pulls a surprise strike, his fleet lieutenant could then kill Han. But that's not how it went. Han kills C-3PO, Mace Windu on the field after Han's attack, and then Mace Windu and the Starwing Scout hit the base for 9 total damage. Heavy damage to Luke's base there this turn. However, his Dudeness then does have to discard those resources that he put into play temporarily with Han. At the start of the next action phase, defeat a resource you control. So 2 resources defeated. And that does mean both players are back to 6 resources. And a third Vanquish drawn by Trax. Vanquish into play, taking down Mace Windu. And I think we're almost certainly going to see Luke Skywalker hitting the board this turn. I do think it might have been good to use Leia to I don't know, it's hard to say. Luke on the field and immediately exhausted with a asteroid sanctuary. Ouch. Ouch. Exhaust enemy unit, give a shield token to a friendly unit that costs 3 or less. That's a shield to the rogue operative there as well. Very, very tough situation. And then 4 to the base from Han. Han resources thing from the top of the deck, and then we're probably going to see that C-3PO hitting the board as well. Trax in trouble here. C-3PO on the field. C-3PO guesses 3 and misses. The temporary resource is discarded. Trax has a card advantage, but he's getting really low just on life on his base. He's got to try and turn this around somehow. Leia Organa might be a good card here, exhausting one of the I keep wanting to say the rebel units or the imperial units, but both sides are rebels here. So exhausting one of Han's units. He does resource that honor guard also. It's interesting. Okay, so he's gotta do something here. Probably so yeah, honor guard to exhaust Leia to exhaust the operative, or Han seems like a pretty robust plan. Leia exhausts Han. That does mean that if his Dudeness had a 7 cost in hand that he was counting Han's ability for, won't have it. Ooh, but he gets hit hard with a surprise strike. Attack with the unit gets +3. Rogue operative hits Luke for 7 and takes him down. His Dudeness was wondering if it was better to hit the base, but Trax points out that he had Luke's lightsaber, which could have been a big problem. Wing Leader on the board, 4 damage to the base from the Starwing Scout, and this is looking like it's going to be another win for Han Solo. I'm not sure there's a lot he can do. He puts Luke's lightsaber on Leia. Leia's very strong now with the buff from Luke's lightsaber and the 2 experience tokens. Leia is now a 7-3, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Or I'm sorry, a 7-5. Yeah, those vanquishes just kind of dead in hand. This is a 5 cost defeat a non-leader unit. I don't think this is that good a card. It can be helpful if someone plays really good late game stuff, but I'm not sure it's a 3 of because it's so expensive. And when you get this sort of situation where you're being overwhelmed by mid-range units, you spend 5 on your you spend 5 for your vanquish, and your opponent spends less than that playing units to replace it. All right, so we see the wing leader takes down the Star Wing Scout. There isn't a card draw. Han Solo hits the base, and that's going to be game because now Trax can kill one of the 2 units, but Ezra also has lethal, and that's game indeed. Han Solo doing pretty well. The new Han Solo leader. I have to say, I think I did not have the right read on this guy at first. His the ability to get a 7 cost unit out pretty early with either Han or Mace Windu seems to be very impactful with this build. All right. It looks like they might be queuing up for a third round. We'll see what happens. Are they gonna do another game here? Oh, the Luke starter is being moved. Is another deck gonna be moved in? All right, we're gonna see here. There may be a round 3. Ooh, it's gonna be Vader. Is it the Vader starter? The Vader starter deck. Trax is on the starter deck challenge here, trying to take down this Han build with first the Luke starter, and after some difficulty there, he's busting out the Vader starter. Here we go. Can his Dudeness repeat his strong performance? He wins the roll to go first, so there's a start. Interesting hand from his Dudeness. Pretty strong. He has the classic 2 cost unit into wing leader combination. The only problem is the 2 cost unit is Leia Organa. Trax, Resourcing, Relentless, and Vader's Lightsaber. That kind of makes sense. So Relentless is a big endgame card. And so let's just talk a little bit about resourcing strategy. Early in the game, you often want to resource expensive units. This is a 9 cost unit. Sometimes games end before stuff like this even gets played. So seeing it in your opening hand, Trax decides to resource it. That's probably a good call. The other one is Vader's Lightsaber. Now, this is only a 2 cost, so we could see it played early in the game. But the problem with it is it's not very good unless you play it on Vader, at least with the current Imperial pool, because there are cheaper units. They're cheaper units with low HP. So you don't get as much value as with Rebels and Luke's lightsaber, which is a quite good early card on R2D2 and C3PO. That Leia Organa hits the field and Trax plays Recruit. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, and draw it. What unit will he choose? He wants to hit a 1 cost here, I think. Ideally, so that would be either the Death Star Stormtrooper or the TIE LN. Either of those would allow him to throw a unit onto the board to begin the game here on the first turn. And looks like he unfortunately does miss having a turn 1 play for a unit. He does see a copy of Admiral Mahdi though. The thing about the thing about this recruit card is I wouldn't really count on it unless there's like a deck in the future with more 1-drop density. I wouldn't count on it to give you a unit turn 1, so I think I might have actually mulliganed that hand. Although to be fair, it might have been the mulligan. I didn't see it. I'm not sure. And also, if he did hit the recruit, he could then play a TIE LN or a Stormtrooper. But I think I would rather mulligan, try to get the natural 1-drop into Vader's ability, or just get a stronger 2-drop, or even 2 1-drops. The best starting hand with Vader is probably like 2 of those Death Star Stormtroopers. Ooh, the mighty Super Laser Technician on the field for Vader. When defeated, you may put this unit to play as a resource and ready it. His Dudeness plays Ezra. 3 cost 3/4. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top. Now, Trax would really like to see a Snow Trooper Lieutenant to send the Super Laser Technician to attack Ezra and trade, but unfortunately for him, that's not going to be an option. He decides to trade with Leia, very reasonable call. So the Super Laser Technician has a really strong ability. 3 for a 2/1 is very bad, but when defeated, you may put this unit into play as a resource and ready it. So this is a premier ramp card in the game right now. I mean, there's only 3 ramp cards, but this one that have been previewed thus far, but this one is very good. Ezra attacks, and his ability here looks at the top card, and it's going to be a C3PO, which his Dudeness chooses to play. When played or on attack, choose a number, then look at the top card of your deck. If it's costed the chosen number, you may reveal and draw it. He guesses 2 and misses. Grand Moff Tarkin. When played, search the top 5 cards of your deck for up to 2 Imperial cards, reveal them, and draw them. I have to say, I do think he already has a big hand. I would probably rather play the Cell Block Guard here, but Tarkin is going to give him 2 cards of his choice almost there because so many of his cards are Imperial. And he's going to pull a General Veers, very solid 3/3, buffing your other friendly Imperial units, and a copy of the classic Death Star Stormtrooper, which he will be able to play this turn, or alternatively, he might choose to use Darth Vader's ability. Personally, I think I would probably rather get the extra unit onto the field. Now, I'm not actually sure. So his Dudeness having played the C3PO does not mean he can't play any of the cards in his hand. However, he could use Han's ability to turn one of them into a temporary resource and then use that temporary resource to play out a 3 cost. Most likely the wing leader. Yeah, there we go with the temporary resource. One wing leader being used probably to fuel the other one. And indeed, we do see Trax throwing out the Stormtrooper there onto the field. And yep, there's the wing leader and buffing C3PO here rather than Ezra. C3PO now a 3/6. Wing leader, one of my favorite cards in the game. Very strong card. When played, give 2 experience tokens to another friendly rebel unit. The wing leader that was a temporary resource now does get discarded. This is the downside of Han's ability. Even though it allows you to ramp a ready resource into play, it only lasts for that turn. So it's not really ramp, it is acceleration. And that is an insight that someone else pointed out. Uh, yeah, that was I believe it was Thork who said that if the extra resource is temporary, it's not ramp but accelerator on the Legion Discord. So thank you for correcting me there, Thork. That is a good insight. Han does not provide permanent ramp. He provides limited like burst resources that allow you to accelerate some stuff out. Ooh, man. Interesting turn. His Dudeness is going for the big Han play, but in the meantime, Trax is getting a powerful board. Cell Block Guard on the field, 3/3 with Sentinel, and backed up by General Veers, giving all the other friendly Imperial units +1/+1. So the Cell Block Guard is now a 4/4 with Sentinel. Grand Moff Tarkin hits Han for 3 damage. If Han wants to attack into the Cell Block Guard, he will actually be defeated. His on-attack ability does go off before he is defeated. Yep, that's what we see. That's exactly what we see. He needs to get that resource onto the board in order to play the Mace Windu that he's gunning for this turn. The Stormtrooper now trades with Ezra. And now we're going to see Mace Windu deploy, kill Veers, and hit the base for 5 as well. Mace Windu, a very strong card, and a strong synergy with Han's ability here. So when this unit attacks and defeats a unit, ready him. Mace Windu takes down General Veers, gets readied, and we're going to see both him and C3PO hitting the Imperial base this turn for some solid damage. Going to be a total of 8, and actually 5, actually 10 damage once you factor in the wing leader as well. Guesses 2 for C3PO and hits Leia Organa. That is huge. That is a massive draw because this now means that when Vader hits the field this turn, he will immediately be exhausted. That is really not something you want to see as a Darth Vader player. These effects that can exhaust a unit can be used on a leader unit, and you really do not want to have that happening to you. There are some options, though. We see Force Choke defeating Mace Windu. Deal 5. If you control a Force unit, this event costs 1 less to play. Deal 5 damage to a non-vehicle unit. That unit's controller draws a card. So Mace Windu defeated before he ceased play. Or I said before he sees play. That's totally wrong. You have to see play to be defeated here. He was defeated before he was able to make a play this turn, is what I should have said. Cell block guard hitting the field again. Open fire to take down the cell block guard might be a good option. Or no, actually, he doesn't need to. He can just swing in with C3PO. So C3PO with that experience guesses 3 and hits a wing leader. This C3PO has been getting tons of value. That's the power of Wing Leader giving experience to a utility unit like C3PO. Vader hits the field, immediately exhausted by Leia, as I had discussed. Now, Vader is the strongest leader currently in the game in terms of his raw stats. 7 cost 5/8. On attack, you may deal 2 damage to a unit. I do think there was maybe a bit of an error there in that Trax could have used Vader's leader ability to defeat the Wing Leader, given that he had played a villainy unit in the Cell Block Guard, and that might have gone better for him. Plays a Stormtrooper, and another Wing Leader hits the field, buffing Leia Organa. I guess it's now Trax's time to take the initiative, probably. Takes the initiative, and we're going to go on to this next turn. Trax is behind on life. He does have the powerful Darth Vader on field, and there's an overwhelming barrage as well as a copy of Emperor Palpatine. Both of those are hugely impactful, high damage board wipe cards. This could be what Trax needs to make a comeback in this game. Let's see how this goes. It's going to be the overwhelming barrage. Give a friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase, then it deals damage equal to its power, divided as you choose among any number of other units. That's 7 total damage, which divided, there was 4 life left for Leia and 3 life left for, 4 life for Leia, 3 life left for C3PO, and so both are killed by the overwhelming barrage. Han Solo hits the field, hitting Vader for 6 with ambush. Vader hits the rebel base here for 6 damage and kills a wing leader with his ability. On attack, you may deal 2 damage to a unit. And then we are, man, what are we going to see here? Stormtrooper hits the base for 3. Initiative taken. Mati on the field. Admiral Mati, when defeated, you may ready an Imperial unit. The Emperor now in position. However, Vader is on 1 life. So he could easily be defeated here by various options. So he could be killed by Han, he could be killed by open fire, and it is going to be the second Han Solo defeating Darth Vader. And the question now becomes, how will Trax respond? So he could just play the Emperor and immediately kill. He could just play the Emperor and immediately kill Han, kind of war of the big swing pieces, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Oh, no, wait. No, he's doing a smarter play here. 1 damage to the wing leader, 5 damage to Han. When you play Emperor Palpatine, 6 damage divided as you choose. So he kills the wing leader with the ability 5 to Han. Then he has Admiral Mati swing into Han, defeat him, and then ready Emperor Palpatine. And then Palpatine and the Stormtrooper hit the base. His Dudeness down to 11 life. That was a huge play for Trax. Ooh, I think Trax may have actually gained the advantage in this game. The question now is, how can his Dudeness try and stabilize the field? This has been an intense match. You know, I thought that there have been some real back and forths. Vader hitting the field only to immediately be exhausted, and he was killed relatively quickly. But the Emperor taking the field to defeat that Han means that it might be a struggle here for his Dudeness. Can he come back to get the win? We're probably going to see a waylay on the Emperor. This is very dangerous, but he kind of has to do it. So return a non-leader unit to its owner's hand. The problem with this is the Emperor is going to get his text again. Well, open fire, killing a Stormtrooper. Viper probe droid looking at the hand, strong play there from Trax, sees the surprise strike, the Sabine Wren and the Ozatech Liberator gunship. His Dudeness claims rather than play Sabine. I don't know. I guess he's just hoping to draw into some outs right now. And yeah, his dude is actually going to scoop at this point. Victory for Trax. He was not able to defeat he was not able to defeat Han using the Luke starter, but the Vader starter proved much more successful. So interesting situation there. Having those big units to deploy to be the big tempo swing there ended up being what Trax needed to get the win. The once Vader took the field, that was a big swing, and then once Emperor Palpatine defeated that other Han, it put Trax into the driver's seat. Are they going to keep playing? If they do, I'll keep streaming. But if not, we might call it there. Deck is being set aside. Is a new one coming in, or is that going to be it? That is going to be it. So thanks for you guys for watching these games with the new Han Solo in play against some starter decks here. And in this case, we had two victories against Luke and then one defeat against Vader. So interesting situation. This new Han Solo leader card definitely looking to be an interesting one for the future of the game. His temporary acceleration providing some strong swings with those 7 cost units, but also an ability that can kind of cost you. It's card disadvantage to use at least his leader side of it, so you have to be careful about using it appropriately. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be coming back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited. I keep saying Legion, some more Star Wars Unlimited content. I will catch you guys later.